Shannon, what's your reaction to all of this?
LeBron is a great teammate. I've never heard Bron call out a teammate individually, even though, Skip, this is what I know about an athlete and what they say publicly versus what they're thinking privately. I can assure you when LeBron James is laying next to his wife, Savannah James, he's thinking there's no way in hell we can win with this guy.
I agree with that.
He will never say that publicly.
When he's talking to Maverick and Rich, he's just spilling on that.
There is no way, Skip, for him to say, I can miss shots, for him to say it's okay for me to turn the ball over, is the equivalent to say, he said that's not, his job is not to score, score the ball. Yes, it is. A quarterback job is to throw passes and not turn it over. Russ, we understand that turnovers are a part of the game, but not the same turnovers every single night. Jumping up in the air with no place to go with the ball. Throwing the ball wildly out of bounds over the top of the backboard. See, Skip, instead of saying this is what he should have said, this is what people that care about the game and not their stats. What he should have said, you know what? You're right. I need to do a better job of protecting the basketball. Because if I do a better job of protecting the basketball, because I'm the quarterback of the team, everybody else would do a better job of protecting the basketball. But that's not what he did. He became defiant. I can miss shots. Everybody else miss shots. I can turn the ball over.
I'm allowed to, he said.
You see? Instead of taking onus and saying, you know what, you're right. I do need to do a better job of taking care of the basketball because my job as the point guard is to make sure everybody gets involved, but minimize putting the ball into harm's way. That's what he should have said. That's what a LeBron, that's what the greats would have said. A Steph Curry, a Kevin Durant. KD's like, I need to do a better job. I need to shoot the ball better. I need to do this better. But not Russ. Russ becomes defiant because Russ think everything that you say, Russ, that's a part of it. You're a superstar. You get held to a higher standard than an average guy. Hence why he hadn't won. I don't care how great your team is. You give me a quarterback that turns the ball over and you can't play well enough around him. Russell Westbrook, no matter how, look at LeBron, what he's doing. He's doing things as if he was 25, and he can't overcome it. The man is averaging 30, 10, and 8, and he can't overcome that play. You can't. Kevin Durant, think about when Kevin Durant was winning 4 scoring titles, averaging 32, shooting 50% from the floor. He couldn't overcome that in his prime.
Thank you.
And we expect LeBron James to overcome that in year 19? He doesn't get it. He doesn't care to get it. And therein lies his problem.
Therein lies, and will continue to lie, because he is lying to himself.
Of course he is.
This is all-time delusionally defiant. And the first answer the other night after the game was the one that got me right in the heart, because I watched for years Russ in Oklahoma City with that media team, that PR team in Oklahoma, of the Thunder, protecting him, babying him, and spoiling him rotten, because they would either shut down reporters' questions or Russ would shoot down their questions. And it was childish because they were good questions, they were fair questions, they were honest questions, and they were reasonable questions, and he would not answer them. Well, guess what, Russ? You're no longer in Oklahoma City. You're in Hollywood now. And Hollywood ultimately will hold you accountable. The media out here, maybe it's not as tough as New York media or even Philadelphia media or Boston media, but at some point the media here is going to get sick and tired of this and start to hold him more accountable.
Well, they should, Skip, because every time he goes to the podium, Skip, they can barely get him answered because he's on his phone. They can barely get him to answer a question. I'm like, bro, can you give them 10 minutes of your time? What is going on? I get
it's beneath them to do this.
Thank you, Skip. I get you got a wife. I get that you have kids at home. But, Skip, this is a part of your job, Russ. It is so blatantly disrespectful that you have so little regard for them and them doing their job that you can't get off your phone. Skip, every time they ask him a question, he's looking down, and then all of a sudden he looks up. He looks down, and I'm like, bro, give him 10 minutes, and then you can get on your phone and get up out of there. You played like trash. The man had 7 turnovers. He had 9 for the game. And LeBron said, well, you know what? Hey, he
7 by halftime.
7 by halftime. But Skip, LeBron's like, you know what? He did a better job of taking care of the ball in the first half. The second half. Yes, but you should have been up 20 with the way you shot the ball and the way you guys played. But because he turned it over 7 times, it allowed the Minnesota to stay in the ball game.
Okay. So an LA reporter after the game attempted to lob him a softball question. It was a very nice question, packaged by saying, you finally hit a big jump shot late in the game. It was 4.5 minutes left that put the team up 6.
Right. He got fouled too, I think.
He got fouled. I'll show it to you in just a moment. But the reporter's question was, how did it feel to come up big in such a big moment after not playing your best?
Right.
Well, that's pretty fair.
Yeah, he didn't say you played terrible, which you had up until that point.
He had 9 turnovers.
Yes, thank you.
So he makes a shot on which he gets fouled, and if we could see that now, please. He gets hacked as he shoots it, and I am convinced, if you see this, his arm got hit. I swear it knocked it off course into the basket because I think it was going to be a miss, but because he got his hand slapped, it actually knocked it on course into the hoop, right? And it gave him an and one, and of course he went right to the free throw line and missed the and one because right now from the free throw line, Russell Westbrook, your starting point guard, is making 65.6% of his free throws. That ranks 98th of 100 qualified free throw shooters. 98th. It's horrendous. I used to say about Lonzo when he was a baby in the league, you can't shoot 60%.
Not as a point guard.
Yeah.
If you're big, if you're a center,
oh, yeah,
but not as your point guard.
Yeah,
no.
but if you're 6'3", you can't do that.
Right.
Right? Okay. So at that point, he says, Russ's response was, I disagree with your question. I disagree with the part that the game wasn't going my way. Really?
What game was he watching?
Okay, I don't know, because I think it's time once again for us to take one more look at what we call the Russell Westbrook turnover blooper reel, the TBR of the day. This was actually off Sunday's game, if we could see it from start to finish. This is what Russ said he's just fine with. Really?
1.
Up in the air, no plan. Russ, just think. That's just
2.
bad hands. Yep. Russ, just take it easy now. That's
3.
wild hands. Russ, have a plan. No, he
4.
has no plan. 4. This is getting painful. Ooh, that's
5.
Oh, that's a bad 5.
6.
Charge. Russ.
7. That's in the first half, folks.
7 in the first half. That was a double dribble. Okay, there's 8, right? We up to 8. And then
9.
What was that about? There were like 3. Who are they playing? Memphis?
Yeah, Minnesota.
Minnesota. What I'm saying, Minnesota. There were 3 T-Wolves in between him and LeBron, and that happened. Okay, so you have 9 turnovers, and you finish 0 of 5 from 3. And by the way, he's now shooting 30.2% from 3. That ranks 148th of 155 qualified in the league. That's about as bad as the free throws.
Dang.
Okay, so 9 turnovers, 0 for 5 from 3, and you say, I disagree with the part that the game wasn't going my way. What are you talking about?
He's delusional.
You got to own a little bit of it because your teammates would love you if you would just own a little bit.
Yeah. The dude says, my game, is fine. He said, my game is not predicated on shots or if I turn the ball over. Skip, you don't.
Everybody's game is.
What if a quarterback said, my game is not predicated on throwing the football and turning the ball over? That's exactly what your job is, Russ. You're the point guard.
Point guard.
Do you understand what your job entails? The man said his game is not predicated on making shots or turning the ball over.
Okay. What does he believe his game is predicated on?
Triple-double.
Triple-doubles. For the last 5 years, average a triple-double. He's within range right now. He's averaging 20 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. He's within range of averaging a triple-double for his beloved Lakers that he grew up living and dying for right here in Southern California. If he could just boost it up a little bit, he's got to hit the boards a little bit harder and continue to try to get the ball to open shooters or for dunks, right?
Right.
8 and 8. Within range, within shouting distance.
Right.
What if he could go 20, 10, and 10 for the Lakers? Is that possible? So he predicates his whole game on hustle.
Yes.
Like, I'm going to hustle for the basketball harder than any guard in the league.
Right.
He's beyond. Remember Fat Lever who played for the Denver Nuggets? I used to think he's a 6'3" guard. He was the greatest rebounding guard I ever saw. And in a couple of years, he averaged 10 rebounds.
Right.
Well, this guy is way beyond that. But somehow we have put such value on it because no one had ever done this.
Right.
Since Oscar, we have to go way back to, what was it, 63?
61, 62 season.
Yeah, okay. Since Oscar averaged a triple-double, and we thought that was impossibly great.
Right.
And he's done it 4 of the last 5, and within shouting distance of another year.
Yeah.
Okay, so now he's a first-ballot slam dunk Hall of Famer. We all acknowledge that's going to happen.
Right.
So in the end, the wins and losses don't matter to him. I don't think the championship matters because he said faithfully the other day, the sun's going to come up if we don't win a championship. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. What does he care?
You're right, Russ. But see, the problem that Russ has, Skip, he's like, okay, missing shots and turning the ball over. But you do more of those than anybody else in the league. That's the problem. Okay, so what? Okay, somebody might miss more shots than you. Somebody might turn it over. But you can't be 1 or 2 in both categories.
And by the way, speaking of that, he leads the NBA in turnovers with 181. Second on the list is James Harden at 152. 181 to 152. Obviously, James hasn't played as many games as Russ.
But he's 4.8 a game, Skip.
The good news and the bad news for you is Russ hadn't missed a game.
Right.
He's the new Iron Man.
Yes.
And that's to a fault because sometimes you wish he would miss a game here or there.
He's averaging 4.8 turnovers a game. There's not a player, there haven't been a player created yet that could overcome that.
No.
It's just like a football team, Skip. You turn the ball over. If you're turnover prone, because when you get into the playoffs and you turn it over, you're going home. Throw pick sixes in the playoffs and see what happens to your team. I don't care how good your defense is. I don't care how good your special teams is. Or you turn the ball over, you go home. Well, there it is. Allah. And Kevin Durant won 4 scoring titles. As great as Kevin Durant is, think about that. He cannot overcome that.
And what's become glaringly obvious to me that didn't hit me before in his stops in Oklahoma City or Houston or Washington, his hands are so bad.
I didn't either, Skip. I didn't really.
Terrible.
Right.
Like LeBron has great hands because half of basketball is catching the pass.
Right.
And LeBron's a great catcher because I think he would have been a great receiver in your game.
Too,
Maybe the contact would have taken him out. But still, he can catch it. You have to be able to catch the pass.
Right.
He can't catch it, and he can't hold on to it.
No.
It's crazy. It's wild. It's high schoolish. It's church league-ish.
But he will not accept responsibility.
No.
All he has to do is say, yes, I need to do a better job of taking care of the basketball.
Yep.
That's my responsibility. I'm the point guard.
Sam Presti and the Thunder spoiled him rotten. That's what happened.
Well, they did a disservice to a lot of people.
They did.
Because now he feels emboldened like, oh, that's not my game is not predicated on making shots and turning the ball over. What the hell you think your game is predicated on?
Hustle.
But he don't smart. He's not smart.
No.
His IQ for basketball, all that hustling, flying around and diving on loose ball, man, look at Russ. But the right play, the smart play, he ain't making that.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.